Sharing means showing, and sharing is caring. So what better way to show that you care than to do a quick show share? Yeah, that makes some sort of sense. Stick around to the end for some special offers. Hey Neil, thanks for joining. This is Squares TV App Lab number 126, where I show you how to use the tools I've created to look better on video. I'm Michael Forrest. I make Video Pencil, Shoot and QCam Presenter. It's just me designing, coding, making videos, live streaming and talking to you. It's a company of one person, so I made these tools so I can concentrate on my job instead of editing videos all the time. And just every Wednesday, it's down to the wire. I'm getting ready for these streams. So apologies if anything is a bit rough around the edges. If we continue, this is also all QCam. This stream is coming live via QCam Presenter. No eCam, no OBS, no Keynote, no audio hijack, no audio loopback, and no NDI. It's all just coming out of QCam. So let's do some updates. Now you might have noticed that I have been releasing a lot more videos recently. I finally got back on the horse. I made myself a schedule. I reorganized my time, and this means I'm using my apps a lot more. So I've been making some little improvements as I go, just those little quality of life things that you don't really notice. And because I've been doing the big picture stuff, but I'm actually sort of getting into that nitty gritty of what is a little bit annoying here and there. So I'm making those little improvements as I go. So first thing is uploading to YouTube got smarter. So now you can start uploading before you've added the thumbnail and the video description and all that, because my videos tend to take ages to upload, and then I find myself kind of not being able to start it until I've done the thumbnail. So I sorted that out, and that looks like this. So it's kind of uploading in parallel, and you can sort of be editing this stuff. Also, this generated stuff is fixed. It was sort of not working before, but now it sticks a title in for you. These are all just like, here's a first draft, right? Now you should always edit this stuff, this AI generated stuff, but it gives you a description based on the video, and it gives you some tags, which is always handy because I can never think of tags. I always just want to get the video uploaded and not worry about this stuff. And then it also puts in the timestamps for the sort of major titles that it's seen. So that's sort of landed in QCam last week. And in Video Pencil, I don't know if you've noticed, like, you probably have if you've ever tried to sort of do a nice drawing in Video Pencil, that it will have a tendency to start zooming and panning sometimes when you don't want it to. So something I added, well, you don't have this yet, but something I've added is that in the next version of Video Pencil, you'll be able to, if I can show you what this is. Sorry, I should have hidden my webcam for this one. Will it let me? Yes, it's going to let me hide the face cam. So if you see down here, so here I am zooming in, and then there's this lock button down here. So now that I've hit lock, I can't zoom and pan. So I can zoom, I can lock it. Now I can't zoom. I can still reset it, and I can just sort of lock that to there and sort of unlock it. And so the way that works is basically if you kind of start the zoom gesture and it's locked, it's going to show that it's locked, and you can tap it to unlock it. And I thought that was quite a neat way of doing it. And then when you are zooming, if you do notice that you're zooming, it's going to show, oh, I can lock this, reset it, and hopefully it's going to be quite discoverable. And I'm finding it useful because sometimes I do want to, you see there, I've sort of tried to draw, but if I can just lock that, then I can sort of make sure that I'm not going to be zooming in accidentally, and I can just sort of focus on drawing something nice. Live titles is one day it's going to give me a win. So that's a couple of things, and the other thing that I'm really excited about is Real-Time Swift is now in Video Pencil and Shoot. So I've got both that framework that I made for QCam, which is running all this stuff, which is making this thing slide in and making my LUT work and superimposing me over things. I got a couple of working prototypes last week, Shoot and Video Pencil. So Video Pencil can sort of run a QCam presentation more or less. Shoot can use my framework to add like extra camera control. So finally, color, saturation, brightness and contrast are going to be in Shoot. And so, yeah, here's a little demo of Shoot running a video background. So it's firing up Shoot. You see I've got this running water video background, and it's just I'm just holding the phone, so that's why I'm going up and down like that. But yeah, like in device processing stuff. So what's cool about this is it means that if you're on, you can sort of like delegate a lot of video processing to the device instead of having it on your computer, which less useful for like if you've got QCam and a Mac and a big setup. But if you're on Windows, then it means that you can sort of set up your phone to be a nice webcam, and then just sort of like bring that in. And I do plan on having a nice Zoom app that will work on Windows soon as well. So lots of stuff going on now that we're sort of out of the woods on real-time Swift. And by the way, like this is the code. It kind of might look like a lot, but this is what was doing that. So I've got a real-time Z stack is just like, here's some layers. So I've done 2 layers. One is the background. That's just hard-coded real background. Then the video channel, and then a virtual chroma key, and then like the color controls filter can be there. And then I've got a bit on-device LUT, and then make it sort of transition on opacity when you switch parameters. So like, it's so cool being able to just like put stuff together like this, and you can imagine like the stuff we can start to do with this framework now. So this is what's powering everything you're seeing here, and it can now power stuff on the iPhone and Mac and iPad. So a lot of new stuff in the pipeline, and then the next channel is like finishing these features and coming up with a good price tags and all that kind of thing. Thanks, Tony. Hi, welcome. So, yes, and speaking of Tony, I'm on Tony's show later, so 1 a.m. my time. So that's going to be, that should be fun. There I am. So it's 8 p.m. EDT. You can go to conversationswithtonymobley.com, and that's going to be a Q&A type show, so please come along and bring some questions. And then Neil, tomorrow, we're going to do a little, there I am, right on your screen. So we're going to be talking a bit about Video Pencil and QCam, answering some questions there. So you can sort of hear me yammering on about this stuff, but actually in response to a question, perhaps, instead of just spending all day trying to come up with something to talk about, which is what these streams are. But anyway, I'm going to do a very basics. So basically, I've been trying to sort of really flesh out the basic tutorials. So I've done that one on just how to get this working, right? How to just be able to draw and stuff, and what that involves. So that sort of covers the headaches of maybe not understanding how things connect and what Wi-Fi network you're on. So once this, I want to sort of like continue from there. Once you've got this stuff connected, QCam connected and working, what can you now do? So we are going to talk about showing things on your webcam. So I have always called this sharing. And then someone the other day said, well, I don't know what you mean by sharing. And I'm like, what? It's just like such a fundamental assumption that, sharing means putting stuff on the webcam. So I think I'm going to be like migrating that to, I'm going to show something on the webcam, showing things on your webcam with QCam Presenter. So here's how you do the basics, and maybe you'll pick up a couple of tricks along the way, even if you've done this before. So, when I talk about sharing or showing in QCam, I'm talking about instantly bringing up pictures, videos, and screen shares, slides, or just sketching directly in your webcam feed, right? So just showing something without having to go to the screen share, right? No screen sharing permissions, no awkwardly holding things up to the camera, no scrabbling around like, where's the button to break the flow of the conversation. You can just be like, put something up there, and then when they look at you, they're right, yeah, that makes sense. No, you don't disappear from view this way. Like, so when you share your screen in Zoom, you just sort of disappear off into the corner and you're tiny, and then everyone forgets what you look like. And it's just a bit of a headache. It like makes the thing full screen on everyone else's computer, and it's just a bit obnoxious. So this means like you don't like sort of break the flow of the conversation, and I hear it over and over again. If I'd had QCam and Video Pencil on my call yesterday, we would have saved so much confusion. Like just being able to like put something up, draw on it. Like on a video call, a picture really is 1,000 words, especially if you can draw a circle around the bit you're talking about. And it's crazy not to do it. Like it's crazy. Like we have this incredible Jetsons technology of video chatting, and we're just like we're not using it. So just like with QCam, you can actually start to use the power of it. And I used to have this as a tagline. It's like you're in the room, but better, right? You don't have to turn around. You don't have to like break eye contact. You can show this stuff. You can demonstrate. You can draw. People aren't looking at your back. Like if you're in a lecture theatre, like people can see you, right? And anyway, so this is what we're doing. And then once you have the habit of being able to do this, it's hard to go back, right? So today I'll take you through how to share some different types of content using QCam Presenter. So let's start. But drawing is just, you can draw. You can say hello. It's never going to let me do a live title, is it? Oh, do you know why? Because it's turned off. But it was still registering the little animation. Interesting. Hello. Isn't this wonderful? There you go. We can do that. Look, all this drawing stuff where you can draw on the iPad and it just comes straight through to your webcam, that I kind of covered in the previous thing, which I just mentioned. Beginner's Guide, drawing your webcam with Video Pencil and QCam Presenter. So that's kind of like, once you've got this up and running, what do you do next? And then when that's working, just so you can see what I'm seeing, look, I can see my Mac on my iPad, and when I draw, that is just going straight up to the Mac. So it might not be obvious what's happening here, but like this is great, right? Like I've got my computer, and that is a virtual camera that can go to Zoom, right? This is just this, you can record or you can do whatever with it. You can live stream it. That's what I'm doing right now. But then on the iPad, you see it's mirroring exactly the same thing, and then you can just grab your Apple Pencil and just like draw on there, and that is just immediately going back there. So if you've never really understood what all this is, and I know that at least two of the people on this call are very much familiar with it, but yeah, that's sort of the basics of it. But like, you're not limited to just your webcam. Okay, so you can show pictures. So here's how you show a picture once you have QCam up and running. You can just drag, so blink and you'll miss it. I've got my picture here. I'm clicking on it. I'm going to drag it into the QCam window, and there it is. And there's me right on top of it. So that is how easy it is to just bring something in. You don't even have to drag the picture on. You can actually paste it in using the share bar or right clicking. But you can also, you see, I'm moving the mouse pointer. I'm going to move it over to the share bar here. When I click here, there it goes. A side 3D. So what's a side 3D? Think about, I'm going to side 3D this and talk to you, right? Think about the headache. Like, just think about how much friction there is to starting and stopping screen shares. So this thing on Zoom is of having to share your screen and then disappearing into a tiny little thing is also compounded by the fact that there's a bit of overhead to stopping the screen share and bringing it back. So you might be talking for 10 minutes from there and there's nothing going on everyone's desktop and they can't really see you properly, right? This is this completely low friction, effortless way of kind of just being able to just come back on camera, talk to people. If you've drawn something down here, say we've like drawn an outline around this ichthyosaur, move it out the way. Look, we can still see the drawing down here. We can draw something different up here. And then when we come back down, that drawing is still there, right? So all these little things that you might not even think about. And also like, beyond the scope of what you could do with, say, NDI and Ecamm Live, like this is a much tighter integration because I have Qtenuity and these apps are communicating so directly. And of course, like you don't have to be over the top of it. There's a button down here the face cam button. So you just click that and you can disappear. So you can see there, okay, my face cam's off. I'm not there, right? Click it again, click it, there I am. I'm there. Okay, so that is sharing a picture, and the way you see it, when I start waving my hands it gets a bit glitchy, but this is just like the built-in thing. Like as Apple improves this, so it will improve in QCam. But I just have the virtual green screen because I really love being able to have an interesting background, being able to have some stuff going on in my background, but then also being able to be a little bit bigger and cut out over what I'm sharing, and that's really cool. And there's a version of that available on Mac OS. The whole that sort of reactions menu thing. You can sort of do a version of this, but yeah, I think QCam is a better way to do it. And just to show you this, like you don't even have to drag it to the QCam. Which say like this is a bad example because QCam is here, but this could be your Zoom call, right? But if you've got QCam running, QCam's icons there, right? We can take that. You can take that picture, drag it down just onto the QCam icon, let go. There it is in QCam. So all these little handy things that make it easier. And if you've got a trackpad, you can pinch or use the scroll wheel to zoom in and out. So you can just to show you that again, I'm just going to pinch. Let's see, like I've moved the mouse pointer to this point. I'm going to like scroll wheel in, and that's just going to zoom in, and I can show you the exact bit that I want to show you. And then once, if you do that and you want to just go back to zoomed out, there is the reset zoom button up at the top. So you can just pull it back out again. Showing videos, it's exactly the same thing, right? Video works just the same way. You take your video, you drag it in, you drop it, and there it is. If it's not got sound, it will just play. If it has got sound, it will start paused to give you a chance to like mute it or decide what you're going to want to do. The audio levels, well, you see this doesn't have any audio, but the audio will kind of show that down there and give you a volume control. And so yeah, like you can. And so the nice thing here is you can also get the sound into your call, right? So if you're on Zoom, you can be bringing that video's audio into your call, which does take a couple of extra steps. So if you're bringing the sound in, you need to, in Zoom or Teams, you need to turn off any voice isolation, or you need original sound for musicians in Zoom, and it's called something else in Teams, but you need to turn the thing off that kind of protects your audio. You just turn on voice isolation in QCam to sort of stop any background noises coming in. But and then you have to use QCam's audio to get the audio through. So once you're trying to share videos, if it's not got sound, if sound is important, then you can bring that in, but I won't get too deep into that today. And the other thing, video works just the same way, right? So here is a video playing on the Mac, and look, I'm remote controlling using Video Pencil's really handy remote control thing, remote controlling the video that's playing on QCam. So when I move that around, I'm controlling this video. I can sort of just be on the iPad drawing. See, the drawing's up there, and it's just controlling the video from that shuttle wheel. So you can just be down on your iPad sort of annotating stuff without having to sort of go back and forth to your mouse and sort of like sort of adjust where the clip is. So that's another thing that is sort of relies on that sort of deep Qtenuity integration. So the next thing I'll show is sharing your screen. Here's how you share an application window with QCam. So this is the share bar. Click on there. Right, so you click there, you go, I'm going to go pick app. Now you can pick a whole screen, that's an option. You can pick a single window. I think pick app is usually the right option. It gives you a bit more. The good thing about pick window is it will fit to the exact size of the window. You won't have to zoom in or anything. And then picking a screen won't bring in the audio. So usually you probably want to pick app. So if you have got sound coming out of that app, that's going to be included. But you just click pick app. It's going to go into Apple's screen share picker. And here's Figma. Just click on that share all application windows in the other app you want to share. And instantly in QCam, there it is, right? And this is sort of my desktop is this big, so I'm zoomed out a bit. So I'm going to use QCam's zoom feature just to sort of bring that a bit closer. And you can sort of like lock that or reset that from this button as well. And you see here, any audio. So, I mean, Figma's not going to be making any noises, but if you're sharing Ableton or something, then the audio is going to be going out to whatever wherever it's going. And of course, you can draw on that using Video Pencil, just the same way you can aside 3D it. And this, again, like, imagine being able to do this with a screen share in Zoom so effortlessly. We're just tapping the share, and then just to end it, that little X, or just press Escape. I just press Escape. Yeah, so isn't that handy? So that was three things you can share: pictures, videos, screen shares. Now, like, there's other things you can share with that share bar. You can see you can share a second camera. If there's any siphon servers, like, it will show the siphon feeds. So there's a lot of different like things, but that's really the basics. Is just chuck a picture in there. Like, a lot of the time, you're just having a conversation. You have the choice. Do I sort of like WhatsApp the picture that I'm talking about to the person, and then they get their phone out and look on their phone, or do I just like chuck it into QCam and show them right there and say, hey, look at this tree, wasn't this nice? Oh, look how funny he was being. I'm just going to rewind that bit to the clip. Oh, this is my favorite bit, right? Just show it directly on the webcam. So that's what that's all about. So that is our educational content. Now we're going to get to some discounts, but first I thought I'd tell you why I'm doing some discounts. Usually I say it's a birthday discount, but I think it's more interesting to talk about how I am 7 years since I quit contracting, just to focus on my own stuff. And so I'm going to do some discounts till Sunday for everything. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about my journey and the reasons I decided to take this risk now. So basically 7 years ago, I stopped selling my time, and this was a huge step for me. Why was it such a scary thing? Like, this is the last invoice for contracting, right? Like, 4-day weeks, remote work, really nice people, not a particularly heavy workload, and they're just like paying me the big bucks. And I'm like, but I was depressed. I was doing this and I was just depressed. Because I was building this kind of thing. Like, here's today's daily drop. Like, you spend like 2 weeks on something like this sometimes. Oh, look, when you hover over, it goes big, and then it does this animation, and then it reveals the daily drop. And look, here's a countdown time. Like, I was building stuff like this. You're like 2 weeks and back and forth with a designer, like stakeholders. Like, we're talking about this stuff like it's the most important thing in the world. And I'm like, it just makes me tired just thinking about having to care about something like this. I'm going to pin Neil's comment. Congrats on the 7 years. Because like when I was is it when I pin and unpin that something strange happens? Um, because like when I was a child, I wanted to be a rock star millionaire and then parlay that into solving world poverty and death with nanotechnology, right? And artificial intelligence and all of that kind of stuff. This is like when I was a teenager. I was like, right, that's what I'm going to do. But so suddenly I find myself at 40, like optimizing the animation on a deal. I'm like, this is not what I wanted. So there was a little bit of a mismatch between what I felt was my potential and what I was doing. But it's also it's not all about failed ambitions. It's also about the difference between earning a salary and building wealth, right? Building your own wealth. So I got paid well, but I didn't own the products of my labor, right? Which means like this is very strange. Um, oh, because it thinks. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I think I've spotted a weird thing. Because like if a company makes 2% more on special deals, that's not going to affect me. And when you're selling your time, the most you can hope for is an occasional incremental pay rise, no matter how much you work. And I work very hard. They really suckered me in with that Protestant work ethic thing. Like I'd throw myself into every contract, making these seismic changes to development practices and business goals along the way. Founders are happy to see you become a believer, but that's like the only way I could bring myself to work for anybody, by believing that believing in what they were trying to create, or that I could steer them towards creating something that I considered worthwhile, but and when you're a contractor, no one's protecting you from anything, least of all yourself. So I'd routinely just burn myself out really severely. So I'd be charging a lot of money, but then not able to work while I recovered, which pretty much balances back out to a normal salary. And meanwhile, I'm barely paying off debts, and I'm certainly not building any wealth. Um, and I just thought, like, if my time was worth this much to companies, surely it should be worth more to myself, right? And so the downside of building your own business is you might fail, and then have to go back to selling your time. But the upside is like, and I felt this during COVID, like the upside is unlimited, like unlimited, like the line could just keep going up. So I just thought, oh, okay, like there's a lot more upside for me. All this effort I'm putting in, I should at least like own the results of it. So, and then like instead of selling my time so I could sometimes make some music and then doing some app projects on the side in the hope that one might pick up, well, I think maybe the apps are ready that I can focus on those and get rid of the whole contracting thing. But like you see, like I couldn't just keep contracting, because, or I couldn't have in the back of my mind that I would go back to contracting, or those first few months and years I would have not. If you keep jumping out of the project and then doing 6 months of contracting, you're never going to build any momentum for your own thing. And so I just cold turkey on the money, cut the costs, cut everything down, and just sort of like focus on this, however small it is to start with, and just see if I can figure out how to do it. If my time is worth that to someone else, then surely it's worth that to me. So yeah, somehow I'm still here, and that's not without a lot of false starts. To start off with, I was kind of looking at this. This is 6 months in, so I'll show you this. Like, um, here's what I was. What was my time? Admin, playing. Blank State was my kind of, I'm going to change how the world works. YouTube, I was running my YouTube channel, I had my podcast, and I was working on products that much of the time. Yeah, which I talk about here. Working hours. This is how much work I did. This is how much I was working week. So I'm a bit of a mad time tracker. This is like I did some research. I did this conference thing and collected loads of thoughts. How can we change the world? I did this video. Does this work? Fighting climate change. I talk about investment. I don't know. I was like playing with stuff. I was making like videos every month. I was sort of growing that. I was doing these podcast episodes. Um, and then this was like the app that I started working on. So I basically like this is my happiness, and basically I over like tracked daily over time. And this is where I quit drinking, and I wanted to give other people. Here's the cumulative effects of that great life change. I was like, I'm going to design this app that gives people that feeling. I've got happiness. New app called Changes. Let me try and help you see the change you made changed your life. That helps you to kind of like cement that story. So I'm never going to go back to drinking because I've just got this graph in my mind. So I just know that that's not something I'm ever going to be tempted to do. So I sort of designed this thing, and it sort of had this chat interface. I think if I'd built it now, it would have been perfect LLM fodder, but I couldn't quite get enough out of the AI as it was in 2019 to do what I quite wanted to do. But I did some augmented reality graphs so you can feel like Tony Stark. Worked with a designer to get it looking really cool, really nice, branded. Here's the time I spent on it. And so this, what's this? Like, I was trying to use something to yeah. So anyway, there's stuff in there, and then I was because I was working with someone else. I found myself with some extra time to do some very creative, artistic projects as well. Like here's a little dancing. Is this going to work? I don't know. Um, oh yeah. So like I play a note, it does a thing. The little guy dances in time. So I was doing all this. This was the first 6 months. I was very scattered, and I was like making all this stuff. But it was then I think I've got so then what happened was I sort of got the app finished and just COVID happened. So this whole so basically yeah, I tracked all this is all available online. I was tracking all my stuff. I was making my apps. But yeah, basically I've got this thing somewhere which is changes. Hours spent this year, 546. Total revenue, $139. Effective hourly rate, 25 cents. Oh dear. Um, shoot. Hours spent this year, 18. Total revenue, $22,457. What? So I'm building all this stuff. This and basically I had to learn. I just had to learn about business, and I realized the thing I wanted to do wasn't going to take off because it was the most hard thing to market in the world. And in the end, I sort of pivoted over to okay, right, let's focus on shoot whatever that else could be. I had no idea what it could be. But at least it's kind of some fun audio video stuff. But yeah, I just realized the mood tracking and trying to change the world wasn't going to work anytime soon. So I focused on the app that was making me some money and tried to sort of take control of that because it felt like completely out of my control. And so, I've sort of been trying all these different things. And so, like, obviously the first thing was shoot. And then I was like trying stuff like scripted timelines with Final Cut because that's how I worked with my um, I was making these music tools. I made Easy VJ, which is a way of like having automatic live visuals when you're playing live streams. Twitch profile manager, and then the delay calculator just to see you clap and see how long your mic delay is. This ended up and then this was the first time I got to show someone shoot on like in real life and see them excited by it. That turned into office hours, Alex Lindsay. That turned into like video pencil. Meanwhile, like beat sheet, and then like video pencil camera, video pencil kind of like merged into QCam, and here we are. But like I tried a lot of things along the way that didn't go anywhere, and so the fact that I'm still here 7 years later doing okay. And like only, and literally, I just spent a year in deep development and all that stuff. You can see is about to turn into some really exciting stuff. So yeah, I'm still here somehow. So here are some. Well, first, let me just pin John's comment. What if everyone documented their work as you have your publishing efforts? Show the way for us to emulate. I did see someone the other day that I used to share a studio with, kind of saying because I've been saying like this show your work thing for a while. I thought it was good as anything, but he was saying actually stop showing your work because you're just feeding the algorithms with stuff that they're not paying you for, and sometimes it's good to be mysterious. Try and show your work in person. So anyway, like it's there's always a counter argument, but yeah, this is me. I don't mind sharing stuff. But yeah, basically, so now that you've sat through that, the reward is discounts until Sunday. So if you go to qcam.app/7years, that's a 37% discount on whatever you pay until Sunday. And then if you are into one of those, if you're watching this and you did have one of the like the Deluge app or Beat Sheet maybe, or Easy VJ, you can get that same discount by putting in the coupon code 7 years at checkout. So if you wanted to get Easy VJ, and for some, if you're using QCam, you don't need Beat Sheet. But if I don't know if you're still using that for, well, I don't. Beat Sheet's a funny one, so I'm not talking about Beat Sheet too much anymore. But yeah, that's a 35% discount. So you can enjoy that. So let me know if you've got any thoughts and questions. Let me see if my YouTube head-up display has missed anything. No, we're all good. But yeah, that's where we are. Thank you for watching. And I am going to say, if you want to join us and have a chat, come on Discord. Squares.tv/Discord. I'm usually available. I've changed my routine recently to be, because I used to sort of in the mornings start with all my admin, reply to messages, sort of triage my inbox, try and sort of see what there is to do. And then like once I'd kind of got through enough of that, then I might start looking at something I wanted to work on. But now I'm starting in the morning with the sort of big ideas, and so that's till lunchtime. Is like new stuff, interesting stuff. So most days I'm getting to make some progress, and then after lunch make a video, and then after that inbox, admin, firefighting, all that kind of boring stuff. But because my I had family visiting over the weekend, it does mean I've been a bit slow on Discord and on email the last week. But I'm going to be back on top of that now. But it's quite nice to not have my day sort of swallowed up so much anymore. But yeah, there we go. That is it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you with some questions later with Tony Mobley, where it's always nice to just have a chat instead of broadcast. Um, and and tomorrow as well. Why not? Who? Just it's so that's a US one, so it's the early hours for most people. So you can come and Neil does such great shows as well. Like I was on there last year. I think Neil is a very knowledgeable on all the video stuff, and he helped me kind of sort out my room a bit. And so I'm excited to be on there tomorrow as well. But also looking forward to a nice deep chat with Tony later tonight, and just sort of taking you through some in-depth QCam stuff a bit more, and sort of doing it in response to questions rather than just like yammering on. But yes, thank you so much for joining, and I will see you soon.